Smile, everyone. Smile, because it's time to talk about Doctor Who at AFTERBUZZ TV. We're definitely smiling.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, guys. Welcome back to AFTERBUZZ TV's Doctor Who After Show, where we're talking about the episode Smile, Season 10, Episode 2. I'm your host, Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ZachWilson, and I have the entire panel back today to talk about the sophomore episode of Peter Capaldi's last season with Doctor Who. Let's get into it. I've got Tauri Miller here, jamming out. He's smiling.
You can find me on Tauri J Miller. It's TAURJAY. That's Twitter. Yes, Twitter.
got
Take
weird.
it, Dave. Take it, Dave. Take it, Dave.
You couldn't find me at MRDaveChild or DaveChild.com. My name is Dave Child.
Adrian.
Hi guys, I'm Adrian Snow. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow. And I'm jammed to vitamin C.
Oh yeah, you do today.
To the graduation song.
The look on Adrian's face as Dave started rapping or whatever.
It's kind of a
It was.
It's more rhythmic poetry. It's more.
But Adrian, your face, if anybody's just listening to this, I highly recommend going to YouTube because your face was like exactly how everyone was smiling in this episode.
Good.
Yeah, there we go.
Because I had some nanobots ready.
Hey, Sydney in the chat says Tari's got them moved.
Hell yeah.
So, and IMO is just excited about Dave Child.
Oh, wow, that's good enough for me.
All right. Let's get into this episode. First reactions up top. What do you guys think of Smile?
Well, I loved the design of the robots and that the location that they were at. That was killer, and that was at the City of Arts and Sciences in Valencia, Spain. For all the above ground stuff, they went on location to this kind of destination in Valencia, Spain. That isn't really surrounded by wheat fields. It's in the middle of a city, but that was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a great choice to use that. So it was really pretty. There's points of it I really liked. I have a big hang up. I have a big hang up on this one. But I loved all of the looks of all the robots. I like the premise a lot. Mm-hmm. So for the most part, I liked it. It's just something about the ending I want to talk about a little later.
Okay. I really liked it. Even with the wonky ending, I thought it was a really fun episode. I thought it was a really good view back into who Capaldi is now.
Right.
And Bill, man, she's my favorite.
Yeah.
She's so good.
I loved Bill's performance and Capaldi's. I think they have really good chemistry, not like in a romantic chemistry, but just like a good companion doctor chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Which I didn't feel like he always has, all of his companions. But I overall, it was good. I will say that sometimes, just for me personally, the second episode after a new companion's been introduced is always kind of like, okay. All right. Even when I think about Amy when she was first introduced to the Doctor in their second episode when they go on the ship and
The whale
episode, that was okay. It's a little kind of on the nose with the push for humanity in the future, which is kind of something that they always do second episode, I feel like. But yeah, I thought that the design was beautiful. I thought they had great chemistry. I liked the kind of Vashta Narati kind of throwback with the Vadi. Or Vardy.
The
Yeah.
Vardis.
So I liked that because it kind of reminded me of Silence in the Library.
Yeah, there was a lot of the Moffat formula was in effect. Even though he didn't write it, it still felt like it had there's a rule you can't break. Mm-hmm. There's a cute but sinister monster.
I mean, it's the base under attack. The base under attack is one of the main Doctor Who tropes.
Yeah.
It is something like 30 to 40% of all Doctor Who episodes are base under attack.
And it's a single action title, blink,
Yeah. Smile.
Right.
And it has the, it has the don't look in the puddle, don't look in the shadows, don't look in the, just keep smiling, never blink. It's all that like one rule thing.
Yeah, Moffat really does like that one rule thing where it like maybe he's just trying to recreate the phenomenon around, that was around Blink, where like
I think so.
Well, because like the idea of like don't blink around statues is like that carries with you.
Yeah.
I kind of wish he'd never brought back the angels. I was like, the episode of Blink was so good that when he kept bringing them back, I was like, no, stop it. You're ruining my fear. So,
which is always what we want. Less fear.
Someone on a Reddit forum for Doctor Who, by the way, suggested that someone makes a tracking eye thing for your computer, your screensaver, so you'll have an angel that always changes place every time you look away from your computer and then you go back.
Absolutely not.
Sounds so horrifying.
Absolutely
so
not.
I need it.
I want it, but it's also scary.
Some of our viewers are also giving us their opinions live in the chat. Florence Flower says the ending was a bit rushed, but overall still enjoyed it. IMO says very wonky. Kristen Schweibert says very nice storyline and great lines as well. I thought this episode was over. I think I'm similar to you, Dave. Like I thought this episode had a lot of great pieces. There was a lot of moments that I really liked. The design was really cool. There's some really cool sci-fi elements like at work here. But there was something by the end of it that just like it didn't go full. I can't say that I loved the episode. I don't even know. Like it's not one that I'll like be itching to rewatch.
Yeah, I think it was kind of. I didn't hate it, but it didn't like turn me off. It wasn't like a sour episode. It was just kind of a meh. It's like what you were saying with the. It's all right.
Yeah. Look, I mean, big improvement for Frank Trell Boyce. Who's the writer of this episode, who wrote my least favorite episode of Doctor Who ever, which is the In the Forest. It's a longer title than that, but it's the forest episode from Peter Capaldi.
Scary Trees.
Where trees take over London, and it was just a weird, off the wall, like it never quite hits right. And like this had a better plot. But I did get a sense that like there was, it was the similarity to me is that there was an overall message that like I felt like they were trying to say and but I have no idea what it was.
yeah.
Interesting.
Right. Yeah, my biggest, if we want to dive right into the criticism at the end, was I feel like they didn't wrap up the story. Like I was very confused about the ending.
Well, let's get back to the ending. Let's start off just like the way that we set up this world that we're living. That's like, or this colony.
Yeah. We also have to like start with, I think, was a great check-in with Nardal right at the beginning.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that and like more because it's like another little hint to this bigger through line of like what is in the vault, what is he protecting, what is this oath. We're absolutely gonna get into that, but let's talk about the Vardy and or as I refuse to not call them the emoji bots.
I was going with emo bots.
Emo bots.
Yeah.
That just sounds like they're like, what's up?
That's how they felt to me,
like
especially with that really
Because when there
incredulous face.
were no humans around, they were just like, "What's happening?"
I'm gonna listen to Bright Eyes.
It sounds like the angsty teenage Transformers.
Yeah,
like
I would watch that too.
Transform into you don't get me, Dad.
I don't want to be a vehicle. I want to be a dancer.
I would also watch that.
I want to be a cassette tape.
But yeah, so like, but the doctor wants Bill to pick.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, we can go anywhere now.
See the future. And she
wants the future, which I think. What would you guys pick, real quick? I'm really curious.
The future.
I would be too scared of stepping on a butterfly or something.
You know why?
Oh hell yeah! Yeah, that's exactly why. I was like, I'll go back to the 80s, maybe.
That's when it starts.
Early 90s.
1996.
Yes. I also would go to the future. I also, on my second viewing, caught that like they went to this place because Bill was like, I want to see if the future is happy. And so they go to like what is known as the happiest place.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really nice touch.
And that's the constant bending of how the TARDIS has flown.
Yeah. Well, I like that there was just like a confirmation of like sometimes when he lands in the wrong place, it's because it's a negotiation between the TARDIS. It's not necessarily that he's always going to get what he wants because the TARDIS is living and breathing. Well, living, and so it can kind of be like, nah, I think we're gonna go back to this place.
It gives us like a reason why that we never. Why occasionally the Doctor can pilot into the exact second and location that he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And other times it's like, how the hell did we wind up here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's because sometimes, and it's similar to the Doctor's wife.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I always took you where you needed to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love the idea that the TARDIS is a living, breathing thing, and you have to
Yeah.
negotiate with it. Notice the Doctor referred to the TARDIS as it at one point. I think he then said
But also
she like a
she
minute
later.
later.
Yeah.
It threw me off for a moment where it was like, did you just call her an it?
How dare you?
How dare you, 12?
But there was a nice little weird kind of I'm just looking for crap at this point. Hint of like when she's like, I could steal it from you, and he's like, yeah, you could steal it from me. And I was like, what?
Oh, your theory?
I just I don't know.
I feel like he's.
That was a nice little random thing that they said. Sorry, that I was kind of like, I wonder if that's going to play into something later on.
Right, maybe.
Yeah.
I do like the chair discussion, but I'm surprised he didn't say like it's like a standing desk. I find sitting down to be the new smoking cigarettes.
Well, what are the
You know.
chairs for? There's only 2 chairs, right?
Yeah, they're there just in case
and
you want to
it's
sit.
powered. The TARDIS is usually driven, quote unquote, by 8 Time Lords.
Right.
So
Forgot
what are
about
those chairs
that.
for?
The chairs are for passengers, guys.
Yeah,
like there's a restroom
just
and a
2.
pool. Like, well, I think they're all around. Like they like
Oh, okay.
circle the whole thing.
Yeah.
Or if you start piling and you're like, I'm tired. I'd like to take a nap. Yeah. You know?
Then why don't you just go to your bedroom?
Because maybe you want
Because
to be
you
part
still
of the
need to
action.
be like
you got
Just-
extreme
you're
FOMO.
coasting.
I'm just being tough.
No, I like difficult.
Like, I'm going to keep going.
Okay.
No, yeah.
So they get to this colony.
Yeah.
And so we're introduced to this world where if you're not happy, if you're not presenting a smile,
Yeah.
then
Not putting a smile on your face and making the world a better place. Yeah.
what
you gonna do?
Then you're
Take
gonna
a look at yourself.
then
What
you're
you gonna
gonna
do?
die. That's what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
And so
You could just make a change.
the
You get changed to fertilizer.
the reason that we're given is they were programmed to make everyone happy.
Yeah.
What do you guys what do you guys think of that as the like general conceit for these robots?
I think it speaks a lot to how humans perceive what happiness is.
Yeah.
Because it kind of, they were obviously programmed by humans to do this, and, we just put in general things like, make sure we're always happy. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Could you be more specific? Happy in what way? What if this happens? And so, like, there's no contingency plans for when, like, happiness is just not really an option.
Right.
And it kind of reminded me of the episode of Black Mirror from this past season, the first, I can't think of the name, Nosedive. Because there was this, like, false happiness that you had to present. And if you didn't present it, then that would cause for your life to become miserable. So, there's just that kind of never-ending strive towards this happiness which doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's that episode of Black Mirror, and I think this episode is playing off of the kind of social media concept of always putting happy emojis on the end of everything, always looking like you're happy wherever you go and being online, and it's using that and it's not. It's also talks about the wave of grief that happens, and it's seeing that it's like grief is the exact opposite of happiness, which isn't necessarily true. But in this world. I think it was a nice theme, and it made me really get into the episode when it first started. I was like, oh, good, existential angst, existential like stuff I could play with. I love that stuff.
Yeah, I actually like this concept that to a robot, if you are inconsolable, you are better served as dirt.
Yes.
You're better off dead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and some people feel that way, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I just realized that's a big bummer.
Yeah, it is a big bummer.
Yeah.
But like, because I think that we sometimes also, not just robots, feel like there's no scope of happiness. It's just like happy or nothing.
Yes.
You know? And as a utility bot, like I love the idea of that like humans are they're basically also just resources. They're not like the primary like even though they're builders, they're not like the prime, I guess, owners of this land. They're just another resource in order to make someone happy or sad.
Right. Yeah, and they see like the deletion of someone doesn't make them unhappy. It just makes them off the board.
Right.
They're just taken off the board.
And we may become feed for the plants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes the plants happy.
Plants are happy now.
It's not an unreasonable thing to do with a human carcass that's
it's
been
the
stripped
circle
of
of life.
all
If
of its
someone-
skin and blood and tissue.
Yeah.
And like the calculation is that grief causes more grief.
Yeah.
That's what the robots are seeing.
Yeah.
So the only way to stop it is
increasing amounts of death causes more grief.
Yeah.
Really, that's what's happening.
That also goes to explain that they don't have an understanding of death and how it affects others.
And
Yes.
also how temporary grief is. They think that when you've reached grief, there's no coming back from that.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can do to make someone happy out of grief because it's so strong. And so that's kind of what's happening. And so they end up killing someone, and then more grief happens from that person getting killed, and then that's where the
Cyclical,
plague of grief kind of comes in.
yeah.
I liked in this episode how it just moves. The movement of the episode is really good too, because often with the Doctor, I often feel like if they get dropped into the middle of a dangerous place, I always appreciate it whenever he's like, okay, now we gotta go. We gotta go. He doesn't look for adventure. He just goes like, we gotta go, but first we need to blow up this place. So when people come here, more people don't keep dying. I have a moral imperative to do that.
And I think you kind of also realize that he misses it. Like, you know,
Yeah.
because sometimes he's like, we should go. No,
Yeah, he
no, it's a fixed time, you know. And he's like,
Yeah.
well, is it really? Is it really?
He spent 50 years just being like a teacher.
Just chilling, being a professor. I would want to run off and blow some crap up too.
Yeah.
If that was my job.
So this is my
mean,
this is my nitpick.
You know what I mean? Like,
If
yeah.
Nits are gonna
with
get
his
picked.
plan, if he had blown up this, I get that he was trying to save the colonists from the robots, but like if you blow up this place that's going to be their home, I feel like you're also dooming them in a way.
I think that's step one of the plan.
Is it though?
I think, well, for all we know, because usually the Doctor's a couple steps. So I bet his plan was, okay, I'm going to blow up the place to make sure no one lands here and gets killed. And now I'm going to find the people that are going to show up, and I'll find them a better place to live. I'm sure that's what the next step
sure.
was.
Something like that. Yeah, I think he had some. He wasn't, because I had the same thought. Like, I feel like they're expecting those resources
Yeah, as soon as
Yeah.
you
to
land.
be there, and
didn't
usually
realize
space travel has a lot of calculation in resources.
I didn't
But-
think he was actually gonna blow it up until he was in the reactor, and I was like, "Oh, you're not saying that like as a you're phrasing like, oh, I'm gonna blow it up. I'm just gonna go in. I'm gonna make sure that they're not violent anymore. You're actually gonna just blow the whole thing up."
But he's
Yeah.
so wrong.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, like, I think looking back, like, Capaldi's Doctor is wrong a lot. Like, he makes a lot of assumptions and then is proven wrong
He's senile?
Not for senile, but like,
Well, it kind of felt
maybe
like he
he's
was
gone.
senile
stuff
in
like
the beginning of last season.
like Robin Hood, he was wrong.
Right.
I'm trying to think of the other examples because I didn't
Well,
write
you're-
them. But
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, while you're thinking about it, I mean, I actually don't feel like he's more wrong. I feel more like he's more transparent about being wrong.
maybe.
So, because I feel like Tennant and Matt Smith, they would always play it off like it was always part of the plan. But like Capaldi is like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like he's actively going through the steps of being like, sometimes when you're wrong, you just gotta pretend you're right. And so like I think he's
too
just
old
more
for
upfront.
that.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? I don't have time. I'm wrong. Okay. I'm over 2,000 years old. Sometimes I'm wrong. Get
Yeah.
over it.
Yeah. Also, Capaldi looks great whenever he goes, oops. Ooh. And I would hate to like miss out on that. Like,
yeah, and I do
oh.
love the reveal that they're all there. Like
Yes,
as he's
that's
like,
great.
I've solved the day. Oh no!
Yeah, and it was a great like momentum of the episode because of that. It was like, oh no, they're all there.
Yeah, yeah,
So now they
it's
got to
not
figure out how to solve the actual problem
Yeah.
rather than just hitting the big reset button.
Big red button.
Which, oops, they end up doing.
Yeah, that was where my main the main problem I had with this episode
Well,
was they unlock they start waking up all of the
yeah.
colonists that are in the freezer
What
tubes.
wakes them up? It's not. Is it him messing with the
It's
reactor?
It's
Yeah.
them. I think he said it was just them entering the ship. It's
Right.
like any
Oh,
person
right.
coming in there.
That's right, 'cause we
activated
see-
a protocol.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we see the kid first, and then we see the first guy out.
Mm-hmm.
after
Yeah.
that. Maintenance med guy.
Yeah.
And I feel like just hitting the idea of them as a truly intelligent being
You can't just hit the reset button.
that has problems of its own if you're going to establish them as an intelligent force and then mind
Wipe their
wipe them.
memory. But that's you know what I think what they're doing is they keep bringing that up like well it's only 2 episodes but I feel like that's just something that they're just wanting people to like not forget like just random
Right.
mind wipes of
Yeah.
sentient and intelligent beings like let's not forget this.
You're right. That is 2
Yeah.
in a row.
Yeah.
And it was a big thing last year
Yeah,
with
'cause it happened
last
to the
season
doctor.
rather, 2 years ago. With Clara and like, is it okay to mind wipe somebody?
That wasn't my problem. I didn't mind the reset. My problem is he didn't solve anything. There's
Yeah.
absolutely nothing that he could have made it. They could have made it clear that it's like, listen, this is what you have to do now. We're making them so they're not responsible for your feelings. They're separate entities, and so now you're working together. So the grief problem and the making you happy problem will never happen again because they're 2 separate problems. And they're 2 separate like colonies, so they're working together. That doesn't happen.
That seemed to be the implication, but it
was
was
until-
never spelled out.
Yeah, it was the implication until he said, "Just remember, keep smiling." And I was like, "Don't say that."
Yeah.
That just now it makes it seem like they're always going to be killed if they
It just
stop
kind of sounds
smiling.
like they're set up. They're like in a Skynet situation where it's like Skynet's been erased, but you know, not that they were like
Yeah.
Terminators
Yeah.
or anything. So
Where
it
like
should be okay.
they're
right?
now like these remainders of Earthlings are now reliant on the mercy of
Yeah.
the emoji bot.
And if they lose it, then they might just kill them all.
Yeah, to me it was kind of like he left being like, "Okay, now I just have Israeli and Palestine. Bye." And then he like left, and there's gonna be conflict because all he did was say, "These are the indigenous people, and you're the people invading. You have to be nice to them. If you're not nice, you will die because they're more powerful. That's going to happen, and I'm heading out."
Well,
now.
you know, he has a lot of faith in humanity.
Yes. Well, I think I
And in the
disagree
robots.
with the view of the situation in that I feel like he essentially by erasing their protocols freed them from slavery.
Yes, that's yeah.
And so like so basically it's like as if it's like as if
Like the
you know
Ood?
the sort of like the Ood,
Yeah.
or if like when Europe came and they're like, this is our land now, and he's like, no, it's their land, and like you have to figure out how
Can
to
we
like,
have that
Sure.
episode?
I mean, we had something like it.
That sounds great. It's just like, why does he say keep smiling? That's
But
my
there-
only
That was
problem.
just a
but there-
weird button that they didn't need. I think it was just.
And it wasn't like
colors
this was like a native species that they like entrapped to do this for them. This was like these are robots that they invented. And the idea of artificial intelligence and when it becomes an invented like a truly
Sentient.
autonomous sentient being is a fascinating one that like their entire series based
Humans.
just around that theory, like Westworld. But I didn't feel like they gave it enough, like that wasn't the theme of this episode, and it felt like it was like sort of tacked on to the end.
Yeah.
Like, I never got the idea that they never presented the idea that these were at all intelligent
It wasn't
robots.
like an Ood
they just
situation.
seemed like very clearly programmed. Like they very clearly programmed robots
one thing.
that were acting according to a protocol. That does not say that is not
And
intelligence.
He's faced
to
that
me.
before, where even with the thing with oh god, it's a long time ago, season 10 or season 11 with Amy and Rory, and they go into that future world, and she ends up aging,
Right.
like because she goes into the wrong.
Yeah,
Right.
And they have those little robots too, and he's not like. trying to
Moffat
free
really
them.
likes that like white robotic like looking. It's also like the Basta
2001.
Narada. Like,
Yeah.
The 2001 thing. Yeah, I just feel like all they needed to do was introduce the idea that life needs grief, and grief is a part of happiness, and it in the long run. And if they kept to that theme and didn't enter into this theme of, oh, you're now an intelligent race, I think it would have been a stronger episode, because he just would have been like, I've programmed into them the idea of grief and how temporary it is and how easy it is to move past it and find happiness. So now it's not going to be a problem. That's all they needed to do.
Yeah, I think it would have been a better payoff to focus on that.
Yeah.
I think kind of pushing that agenda of like, be happy. I think that just kind of sucks, because you have this whole big thing that you set up about grief and how people deal with it, and it's just kind of tossed aside to work on the bots instead.
some of the chat thinks that it was him just telling a joke, but like that's
Badly,
not that's a bad joke, and not like a bad like dad joke, which the Doctor will often do.
Yeah.
That's like a joke about how all these people's families were, or like family members were just killed, and also like it comes off as like, make sure you're doing the you don't do the thing that like they just died with, and it's like, what?
Yeah, it was
It just it wasn't delivered like a joke, and regardless of whether that was the intention, it didn't read that way.
It also, Bill and him and the Doctor both agreed on it when they said it. So they said it like, duh, keep smiling.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, oh, what are we doing? You're giving the wrong message.
It makes me almost feel like there's something that there's like a clip or a shot that we are missing. That if we
Maybe.
had that, then maybe we'd have better clarification. Like, because it just doesn't make sense to talk about grief in that way, and it doesn't seem very much like the Doctor to deal with grief in that way, unless they're attempting to make a point about the Doctor not being able to deal with the idea of grief and would rather have someone erased than to deal with that.
I would agree with that if Bill hadn't been right with him.
Maybe she has some grief too.
She has some
That's
problems.
true.
with
Her
it
mom
as
is
well.
dead.
There you
Yeah.
go.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
maybe I can give them that bone. Like,
Yeah, but-
maybe that's what you meant.
Except for that, I thought it was a great episode.
Except for the whole third act.
Except
I
for-
thought it was
not
Exactly.
even the
Actually, up
third
until that
act,
point.
like just that scene.
Yeah.
Just the like how they wrapped everything up. That's the only thing that felt, and it didn't even feel rushed to me. It felt like they made the wrong choice in that, because it could have been that as fast.
It felt like there were writers assigned to write the beginning and writers assigned to write
Right.
the end, and they did not get to talk to each other. It was kind of like, well,
They put 'em in
this
two
is a
separate rooms.
weird twist. Like, you both have an idea of where you're going, but
Yeah,
this
it-
last 5 minutes
It just
doesn't make
changed
sense.
theme with it. It changed the theme within a scene.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can't do that in the last scene.
No.
of a show. But yeah, otherwise,
Yeah.
real fun episode with a lot of good action sequences. I love the effects of the nanobots that were flying through the air, and like
Yeah.
the fact they sound like bees.
Oh, by the way, the Vardy. The reason why they're called the Vardy is because the writer Boyce worked with a professor named Andrew Vardy, who specializes in swarm robotics.
Oh.
So he's named after a specific professor from a college.
Where did he pull that name from within the episode, though? Because I actually missed it.
In the episode, like, people say it the whole time.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
They call them the Barty.
So, like, in
I
the
think
very
you just
beginning...
recognize them as, oh, they're Vardy here.
Right.
That's what I saw it as, I think.
Okay.
That's how he is.
It's like,
just knows about
these
them.
flying nanobot swarms are
Called Vardys.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a weird question for you guys.
Please. Please ask us.
Do you think that there were children inside of those Vardy costumes? Or if they were just actual robots? Or if they were adults using perspective? What do you guys think about these
Probably.
Mobots?
I think they were
well,
little people.
One of them, because I have this in front of me by
Yes.
chance,
Go on.
there are 2 people credited as emoji bots, and that is literally what at least Wikipedia says they are called.
Emobots is better.
Craig Garner and Kieran Shaw, and I only have an actual article for Kieran. But he was born in 1956, so not a child.
Okay.
And he is 4'2". So yeah,
Okay.
he's a little person.
And a stuntman. Nice.
Yeah.
He's a little person stuntman who's
Yeah.
been doing work since 1977. It says.
The
Nice.
reason why I thought that is because if they had a kid, they would have to. It's a lot more restrictive to when they can actually shoot the kid.
Right.
So it makes more sense to not get a child.
When can you shoot a kid?
You could shoot a kid between the hours.
All right. Nope.
Okay, fair enough. I do want to talk about. I love how they brought back "Don't look at my browser history."
Yeah.
Because he has said that in a previous episode before.
I really wanted that kid to say, "Are you my mommy?"
Aw.
Because he said mommy, and I was like, say it. But he didn't. But anytime they can throw that in, it's an old school. Why are you backing away? It's an old school reference.
No, I know. So yeah. Let's. Do you guys have any other thoughts on the Vardy or that plot line? Because I want to go back and talk about the vault.
Yeah,
Sure.
let's go talk about the
I do want to mention one other line that I really liked from this one, which is when he's talking about how many Scotlands there are in space and how they're all
why are you Scottish?
striving for independence. Which I thought
Striving from independence from whatever planet they're on.
yeah, which I think is great, and also was kind of a nod towards where they were, I think, heading towards with these Vardys. That they were also kind of the indigenous people striving for independence later. Even though I kind of disagree with that, it was still kind of a nice little seed to put in. So that was cool.
And also it's another Scotland thing in a second of New Companion, because Amy's first one was the Scottish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, also, they mentioned casually where different places they can go. I think when they head back, and they mention Wiltshire or Aberdeen, and Wiltshire was the setting for the 1971 episode. I swear, this is not me. This is Wikipedia, but I did find this out. Setting for the 1971 The Daemons, which is a Master episode. So it might be nodding towards the Master a little bit. And Aberdeen was the last place they dropped off Sarah Smith before, she obviously came back later.
Yeah.
But during Last Companion kind of episode, which I thought was interesting. And maybe that was just a nod, but it could also be kind of where
Dropping hints.
it's in the Hand of Fear. So if you guys maybe know those episodes and maybe what they're trying to say with those little nods, maybe let us know in the chat.
Yeah.
Besides that, you want to talk about the vault.
Yeah.
Get into the vault. I love starting off with Nardal kind of being the mom of the group
Yeah, he's
and
like,
how he referred to Nardal as
Mom.
it's mom. And I was like, oh no, we're going to meet the doctor's mom.
That'd be cool.
And then I was like, oh no, it's Nardal.
Yeah.
I want to know what his body is made out of. Is anyone else? Because we just know it's...
a screw dropped out of him or something.
A screw
Yeah,
dropped out.
he's got a robotic body.
Yeah.
Does anyone realize he's the new canine? That's exactly what he is.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait till they use him like they use K-9, or he does something where it's just like, well, and something pops out of him and he's able to do like some sort of Jiminy opening up a box or something.
I just love how he's like, I'm not making her tea. I'm like, ouch.
Yeah, he was real
Why are you
snide.
so up against Bill?
Well, he's really into whatever oath or whatever this thing they're setting.
Yeah, he said that the doctor made an oath.
Yeah.
To
and-
never leave Earth.
Yeah, to not leave Earth unless it was an emergency.
Right.
In order to guard this vault.
So what's in the vault?
What's in the vault?
What's in the box?
What's
Sorry,
in the vault? What's in the
That's a Seven reference for you youngins out there.
All you kids out there, watch Seven so you can get that reference.
Nope.
Don't watch Seven.
Wait till you're at least 15.
Do not. It's not a hilarious
Legally
movie.
17. Gotta be safe. It just gotta be legal.
It's scary what's in the box. Anyways, I do. Isn't there a fan theory right now that maybe what's in the vault is actually the first Doctor? I've heard that theory.
That's interesting. Okay, so I want to save the rumors until we go into predictions.
Okay, so never mind. You didn't hear anything.
No.
No, not yet. Just
Is it the
like,
party?
When are we
but
getting to predict?
But fan theories, that is an interesting fan theory.
Yeah. Pregnant pause.
All right,
Yes.
you know what? All right, because I don't want to stop this train of discussion because it's a really interesting one. So I'll just
Play
say
predictions.
right now.
No.
No, we're
We have time. So, what
Okay.
would you want
actually. You know what? Hit the prediction
Yeah,
button.
yeah.
AfterBuzz TV prediction.
We don't have anything else to talk about right now. This is the main
Talk
thing.
about
This is
the
the
other
main
stuff
thing
before.
left in the episode.
Okay.
right.
So, but like, I just wanted to give a spoiler warning in case anyone is sensitive to like the full season trailers
Right,
or like
right.
rumors that are out
True.
there. Like some people don't want to be spoiled by that.
Right.
And I understand. That said, there are a bunch of rumors flying around. We talked about some of them last week. The big one that's out right now is David Bradley, right? That's the actor's name
From
that plays Filch in Harry
yes.
Potter.
Yeah.
And,
And he
he's
also-
in Game of Thrones.
And he
Right.
played the first Doctor in that.
He played William Hartnell in
got
the
it. Yes.
in the made-for-TV movie about William Hartnell's
Yeah.
life.
Yes.
He was cast in an unknown role
Christmas.
in this year's Christmas special. And the big fan theory out there is that he is playing the first Doctor.
Right.
Because we've already accepted him as
The first Doctor.
somebody who is William Hartnell, and that TV movie did that really weird thing at the end where he had a whole conversation with Matt Smith.
Oh.
Yeah, it's super weird.
I haven't actually seen that TV movie, so now
Yeah.
I want to.
It's a biopic. It is not a fictional story.
Yeah.
It's the story of William Hartnell's life.
It's not like
and
Name
then
of
at
the Doctor
the
where he
end,
meets,
he's like, it gets to the end of his career, and but he has a conversation with Matt Smith's doctor.
So it's like the Doctor visited him.
Yeah.
Well, they've already
that's
kind of made it. And oh my God, the name of the Doctor, right? Not the Day of the Doctor.
An Adventure
The
in
long-
Space and Time. That's
long
the
movie?
title. Thank
Yeah.
you, Florence.
with all three Doctors.
Adventures, yeah.
That
They've
David
done it-
Tennant.
yeah.
But they
Yes.
they made it pretty clear that outside of that, which is like a weird schism of them all having to meet each other, that sometimes the Doctor will run into like a different variation of himself. So that's
Yeah.
that's possible.
It's happened
Yeah.
many times
Yeah.
over the years.
Yeah, they even Tom Baker even met the first Doctor.
There was
in
the
one of
3 Doctors, and then the
Right.
5 Doctors, and then there was the 50th.
Right.
50th.
And like in the 50th, they all were there. Like every
Yeah,
single iteration
that's
was
what
in
I
the same
was
place.
talking about. I
Which
couldn't think of
is
the name.
the next rumor that's out there is that we are going to revisit the Time War from Pierre Capaldi, from 12's perspective. Because that we know that he goes back there because there's that little moment in the
So-
50th where it's like, no, all 13, and you see the angry brows.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because the vault isn't the Time War is time locked, right? So it's constantly
Well, not anymore.
happening.
He had to unlock that
not-
in order to to bring Gallifrey back into that unclear where is it, because we've been there now.
For that particular timeline, but we did see, you just said the 13th with the angry eyebrows. So that means that kind of hints at the possibility of him being, of what you're saying, of him going back into the time war.
So it is. I guess that it's possible, and I think we talked about that a little bit last week, that it would hold a door of some kind to Gallifrey. I guess Time Lord technology, Gallifrey could just be in there in that closet.
Right.
Still
Well, I've
frozen.
got a whole dimension in my phone box. I've got a whole planet in my closet.
Yeah.
This guy's crazy.
Indeed.
But so that theory holds up. But all of these things coming to a head, if the rumor that David Bradley's playing the first Doctor, John Sim coming back as the Master, who was carted off to Gallifrey in Ten's farewell episode. We know that there's a preview of what is the original design of the Cybermen coming, that version of the Cybermen were the primary villain of the episode where the first Doctor died and then had to regenerate. So it could be that we are going back through
Doctor has to go through
these
time.
things. If during the Time War, maybe whatever happens, he encounters the first Doctor and then gets brought back to his regeneration.
All
Right.
Can I say something? So here's what I think. This is my prediction. I think that the Doctor, the reason he was instructed to stay on Earth to block the vault is because the vault does lead to the time lock of the Time War. And because he's gone traveling, doing whatever he is in time, a version of the Master returns, gets into the vault, and decides, let's just go back and change some stuff in the past in the Time War. And that allows for the master that we know of, John Sim, to also be unlocked as well. So that there's because if Gallifrey at one point was frozen in time, and what we're basically seeing is that version of Gallifrey that's moving around, and they're trying to preserve it so nobody changes it or affects it, maybe that could be what's in the vault. And what could happen.
Yeah, we get it.
Having fun.
So that could be something. I don't know. I did that one day. I was working at a farmer's market, and I started doing the Master's Click. And somebody was
It
like,
makes you feel like
how do
you're
you know
going
that? I was like, I watched the Doctor.
You guys heard about this Saxon guy that was going to be voting for him soon?
Yeah, I think vote for Saxon.
Yeah, I think it sounds great.
Yeah.
I'm also wondering if they're gonna do the regeneration backwards thing, kind of cycle back.
Cycle back?
Yeah, because they're also talking about how since he's the 13th,
It was a freebie.
13th regeneration, it's gonna be different than any of the other regenerations
Yeah,
we've seen.
the only other Time Lord I think one other that I don't remember who it was, but we know the Master got an extra set
right.
like this.
Yeah.
Woman, Doctor, please.
There's a ton of rumors going around this week about who is playing the Doctor.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different leak that they're
think-
this person is confirmed, and it's the BBC every time is no casting decisions have been made.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody calm down.
I'm also saying my theory is if he does cycle back, I don't think he's gonna cycle back for very long, but it could be fun to kind of see him kind of revert back to the other Doctors for a second.
Oh, briefly.
Yeah.
And then maybe ending with the first Doctor, which is how the first Doctor comes in. And then he dies again, and then we see the whole new Doctor.
Aren't
Yeah.
some
And
of
then it kind of
the
restarts.
Doctors, the actors, dead outside of William Hartnell?
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
it'll
several
be like,
Doctors have passed
oh
away.
my God, he's changing into this.
Yeah. It's all the back of their heads, and you're like,
Yeah.
I know that haircut.
Yeah.
But
They'll
much
probably-
the
yeah.
way they did it with the CG'd Christopher Eccleston's face for that quick moment
Yeah.
onto
Tennant?
no, help me out, War Doctor, John Hurt.
Oh, John Hurt, yeah.
They CG'd Eccleston's face onto John Hurt for that couple frames.
Yeah.
Right.
They could easily do something similar.
Yeah.
For that.
And that might also be what happens to the Master too. But I do kind of hope we have Missy meeting the other.
They said they
Yeah.
were going to meet face to face.
Yeah, I hope so.
My guess is that he's going to regenerate into Sims and effectively now having the face of his own enemy. He won't know what to do.
Dude,
and then Sims
listen.
will be the
If
new
John
doctor.
Sim became the Doctor, I'd be all about that.
I mean, I'm putting that prediction out there.
We can
Pretty
predict.
sure he's a series regular on the catch, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
Don't matter. Don't matter.
Yeah,
He'll
I
give
mean,
it up.
much the way that, like, as much as, like, and I know the chat saw, like, chat feels me here. Like, I want Haley Atwell to play the Doctor. She just committed to a new series that's shooting right now, so it seems unlikely.
Well, maybe she could double duty. A lot of people are doing double duty these days.
I mean,
True.
they're not going to be shooting until 2018 at the the so.
Yeah.
And
it's
she
real
hasn't had
short
the
runs.
best run. Of,
Actually, that may not be true. They might shoot before the end of the year.
I don't know.
Um,
I don't know. I'm not in charge of their schedules.
Could you be, though?
I wish I was. Although I'm not very organized, so it wouldn't be great.
However, the rumor mill has included a woman. In fact, this week one of the big rumors was an African American woman whose name escapes me because I was not familiar with her or any of her
was
work.
she the woman who was in The Cursed Child? Was she the woman that was the first black female Hamlet? I don't know their names either. But.
Yeah.
I'm
That could
looking
be interesting,
it up.
too, because sometimes-
everybody vamp.
Sometimes they also plant in the current companion kind of what the next Doctor is going to be. You have like a previous Scottish companion and then becomes Scottish.
Michaela
That sort of thing.
Cole.
What has she been in?
She was in Chewing Gum.
Oh.
Oh, the lead of Chewing Gum?
Yeah.
Oh.
Whoa.
Snap.
She would be
Yeah,
funky.
she's the creator. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that tone.
She denies that rumor.
Yeah, she just did season 2 of Chewing Gum.
Yeah.
But, well, I mean, that came out like a year ago. In
But
London.
if she's been in the conversation at the BBC, they're at least open to it,
Yeah.
despite like weird things like from their communications people. Like, there's no female doctor. Like to an angry
I mean,
dad.
there's
like,
a female master, so like there.
it is possible
there's
within the
something.
lore. It is. There are interesting
They've been
questions if they're going to
kind
do it.
of hinting at the possibility of it for a minute. Like even when you think back to the last season when he shoots the guy and
The general.
and when he turns back into a woman, he's like, oh, first time as a man, so much ego. It's just like, so there is a possibility that there could be a one-off of a female doctor. It's not
Yeah.
impossible.
I would be all for it because
Yeah.
I think it would be an interesting, different dynamic. There's a lot of it changes a ton about the show, especially how it's viewed. Like,
And then there's more of a conversation about his relationship with his companions, because for some people, that like the idea of like an older man always running around with really young women, like that's there's
Yeah.
a stereotype to that. So if it's, are they going to change it to a young man, or are they just not gonna? Are they going to keep it as a young woman? Like how are they going to deal with
yeah,
that?
is it going to be a younger woman? Is it going to be an older woman? Is it going to be a 30-year-old woman?
Yeah.
Like just
Are
the
they
middle
going to
ground.
negotiate that?
Oh, I hope they don't. The one thing I hope they don't do is Bill remaining for the next Doctor? Do we know?
No.
The current rumor is no.
Because I would
they're
hate
gonna
it if
make
all of a sudden it becomes like a romance between
Well,
Bill
it's
and the
Moffat's
Doctor.
done, so it won't be some type of weird fantasy.
Okay.
I mean, it might. I mean, who knows?
I mean,
Like,
I just really like having a companion that isn't being shipped to the Doctor.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I kind of want to stay away from that. As
I
much
would
as
love a
possible.
female buddy
But yeah,
com for a season
so
of Doctor Who.
real quick because we're about to run out of time,
Yeah.
and we could talk about this topic
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah.
Next week's episode, Thin Ice, because we got the tail end. They teleported into London. I think he said they were in the Thames, and then an elephant showed up.
It's like 1814.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something like that.
And we got in what we see of the little trailer, we do see that there's a big old monster.
There is in the water.
Big old monster in the water.
Yeah, looks interesting. I'm like ready to get away. Personally, I'm always ready to get away from one-offs.
Yeah.
Unless they're really, really good. Because I want to know what's in the vault. I want to get back. I
Right.
want to get Nardal back in the picture because I think Nardal is so much fun to have around, and the dynamic between the three of them that's formulating is awesome.
yeah.
And if we don't go back
Sure.
to 2017, we're not gonna get Nardal back.
Yeah, I think that's gonna happen in the episode
Fourth.
after this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we'll see.
I actually feel like what with the line where Bill is like, "What if you can't get back?" I feel like they're going to be traveling. It's going to take them a while to get back to that school in that time.
And that's when the vault's going to get hijacked.
Yeah.
Right.
So
It does leave Nardal kind of with something to do because he's probably
Making tea.
taking care of the vault a little bit.
He is a robot.
But and
Just
also,
saying.
Another thing, the vault is for friends only, so that might mean that it's a friendly that gets to break into the vault.
Well, it
Yeah.
wasn't the vault that was friends only, right? It was.
He said the door to the vault is friends only. It
Yes.
opens
Yeah,
for people who
that's
are
what-
friends of the Doctor.
It was right. Well, the not the vault itself, but the
The door
the
to the
door,
vault.
The door to the
to
vault,
where
yes.
you get to
The vault.
the
Yeah.
vault
Yes.
door.
Yep.
First
So the
security.
first security friends only. I wonder if Missy would qualify.
Yes,
think
she's
Missy
the Doctor's oldest friend.
Yeah.
Yep.
So while you speculate on that, we're gonna sign out. Until next week, guys, be sure to shoot us your favorite theories. Who do you think you would want to be the Doctor going forward? Hit us in the comments below if you're on YouTube, or if you're listening to this, leave a comment on iTunes or wherever you happen to be listening, or send us a tweet. You can
Give us
find
them 5 stars.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yum, yum, yum,
All
yum,
good
yum.
stars.
5 stars.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ZachWilson, and also here at AfterBuzz on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and The Leftovers.
And you can find me at Tauri J, T-A-R-I-J-A-Y. You can also find me on the DC slate, which comes back this week. We got Supergirl. We got Flash. We got Arrow. Not Legends of Tomorrow.
Not Legends. That's my bread and butter. But you can find, I'm Dave Child. You can find me at Mr. Dave Child, davechild.com. But I'll be on American Gods next week. And I'm also on iZombie and Fargo. So catch me on all of those. They're really good shows.
Got Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah.
Hey. Sorry, my voice. Whatever. I'm Adrian Snow. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow. I will not be here next week for any of my shows, but I will be back the week after for Handmaid's Tale, Doctor Who, and the Unproduced Table Read.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. Until next week, allons-y.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Next Sunday.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.